Rebel Moon, Netflix original, directed by Zack Snyder. What up, Rich? What's good with you?
What's up, man? You know, I just want to start off by saying I don't know what that. I don't know. I don't know if I might be able to contribute much because I don't know what to feel about that movie. I,
Nah, you good. You good. You good.
we'll get it. We'll get into it, but I don't even think we're gonna argue much on this episode. I think me and you might agree on a lot of things. So
It's- this one was definitely I'm not gonna say a difficult one, but I will say it was very interesting. Very interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I
So
mean, let's get into it.
let's get straight to it. Straight on the first one, man. All right, Rebel Moon, flop or not?
Uh, so I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes is about 23% from the critics and about 56% from the fans, which I think is about right. I mean, being a critic, when I watched this, I thought, "Oh, this is not good. This is not a good movie for many reasons that we're gonna go over on this." But I also understand that 56% because it's not the worst movie I ever saw, and it did just enough to make me interested in watching the second one. So I'm kind of in the middle, so I'm gonna have to give it like a 40, maybe a 35 to 40%, really what it should be, in my opinion. But looking at that, like that's a flop movie.
I'm gonna be honest
Flop.
with you. If we're not talking monetarily and we're talking about just the movie itself, I would say the movie. I think it's a nod. I don't think it's a flop. I think that they got us interested into the movie, and I think that they left everything to a mystery, which a lot of people don't like, and I don't think I would like it too. But it's Netflix though, so I got to pay $7 for it, or how many you ever pay for your account. So I'm all right with having being a little interested into the movie, and then knowing that there's gonna be a part two to come and fill gaps. Got me more interested. I'm gonna say it's a nod. I am not excited to see part two, but I am interested to see part two. So that's why I would say it's not a real flop, man. I think that's a good movie, man. If it's for you, what would you have done differently with the movie?
I mean, I would have made it a TV show. I'd have made it an 8 to 10 episode TV show so they can flesh out the characters. Because I think the biggest issue is we don't really know much about the main characters other than Cora. But even then, they kind of just told her whole background in a monologue that was just placed at a certain part of the movie where I felt like at this point I don't really care. I mean, it was an important monologue. She actually told us how she got there, her background, and what her real purpose is. Maybe that's what makes me interested in watching the second one. I know it's going to be more. It's going to be more than two, and so I guess it was just enough. But I think it shouldn't have been a movie, and it should have been rated R.
I would say that it needs to be better than. I think you're right. I think you're right, but I still do like what they were putting in and putting out of the movie. Even when it comes to the dialogue, I still think that was a good catch, and I think that that would work well to not be a flop because they allowed us to, or they explained it enough. I mean, of course, we want action. We would rather show us, not tell us. But I think it's still good the fact that they did tell us a lot of it.
That's true. At least they told us her backstory. I think in the next one, I want to see more backstories from other characters.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I think so too. Who flop or not? Ah, man, we're gonna have to look. Part two might come out, and we might have to make
Yeah,
that same thing over though. But let's see what we
yeah.
got.
Well, I
All
already
right.
mentioned character development is probably the biggest flaw in this entire movie. Of all the characters who was on that main team, we only know the background of one. I mean, we know a little bit about everyone. One was a former general, one was a prince. We found that out like 8 minutes left in the movie. One was like a samurai witch who was like Robin Hood, I guess. I don't really know what she did. And then we had fake Han Solo who ended up betraying him. So like I think this movie would have been better if we cared about everyone, but I don't really feel like we knew enough about everyone.
I still think that that's a good thing. I think that when you said the fake Han Solo, I still think it's good because it did give you that Star Wars feeling, but not really the Star Wars
Yeah.
entire cinema. So I still think it's good though. Character development, of course, they failed completely though. I don't know who any of the characters are. I don't care for any of the characters, and I think that's a horrible thing. But like I said, it still gives me that mystery to want to know who they are, and hoping that part two will give us those answers that we do have. Because
Yeah. And I think the TV show would have been able to flesh out some of the characters. So, like we discussed earlier, if we actually had a TV show, you could have the first episode be basically the 40 minutes. And then other episodes, we kind of highlight some of the other people, Prince, the General. I would have liked to see kind of how some of them got to where they were. And then one episode, they all converge and the whole recruiting mission happens and they come together. So I really think you could keep every single minute of this movie. You can still kept that film and put it into the show. Just add backstory and character. Even if the village, like, do we really care that village about to get attacked? I don't, because I don't.
Not even a little bit.
The one person who was halfway interested got killed by the space Nazi. You know,
he did give that dope speech to be like, hey,
yeah.
we got a hunch for the Johns. You feel me? Hunch for the gods.
It's funny because I feel like Korra had somewhat of a development. The bad guy kind of had a little bit of development at the end of the movie. I kind of like how he fought with a cane. It's like, it's not too gruesome of a weapon. It's not a cowardly weapon like a gun. It's not like a violent kind of slicing weapon like a sword or something. It's a cane, which is like a brute force weapon. And
but that's the best part about it, is it's a blunt force weapon.
Yeah.
So when you get hit with it, I think that's worse than anything else in the world. That's gruesome.
It is, and it kind of shows strength. And it's like, because you see a guy with a cane and you're like, okay, you get a. But he was like one swing knocking people out with that thing, you know.
Look, first of all, he Barry Bonds. I mean, he Derek Jeter swung. I mean, that John was a nice swing, bro.
That second guy, the little alien he hit, he knocked that piece off his head. And I saw it rolling on the ground. I was
should have been rated R, man. I would have loved the characters more. I think it would have been a little bit better
blood.
If it was rated R, but it wasn't. So I mean, what can you do? You can't really do much about it, you know.
Right.
So world building. Let me hear it.
I think the world building was the best part of this movie. Well, I would say world building and the action. I know you might disagree with some of the fight scenes, but I feel like the world building kind of. I know a lot of people are gonna say this is like a Star Wars movie. They compare it to other like space movies, but they did kind of like show us part of the planet they were on. They showed us the fertile lands. They showed us like the where some of the kings live. They showed us a little gladiator stadium, and like maybe not enough. I think the thing with the world building is they showed us a lot of stuff. They didn't stay anywhere long enough for you to like care about these places.
That's what I was waiting on. If we are gonna care,
yeah.
You couldn't name one planet right now.
I remembered one of them, Pollux, the where they got betrayed.
Yeah,
and I remember the mining where they got the ninja witch. What's her name? Nemesis. Cool name. I just feel like a ninja witch. But
yeah, but she's also relevant, and
she is. I think the world building was fine. Again, it would have been better if it was a TV show, because they would have got to actually spend an episode in these worlds for us to care about them more.
I still disagree. I think the world building, I mean, again, and this is on to just the technical side of it, right? They had good CGI at the very beginning. I really do believe they spent their money in the CGI at the very beginning. And I think they must have spent all of it, because after that, it was just gloomy. It's dark. Again, I don't like gloomy, dark Gotham CGI type deal. And that's what they got in every planet. It's just dark. And then when they give us something bright, then they just give us a dark Griffin, so we can't tell. You know what I'm saying? It's just I just felt like they could have done better for a movie, TV show. I would have accepted the CGI for a TV show, but for a movie, I kind of wanted to see more, and it definitely let me down on that. And then, like I said, all the planets were irrelevant. They were so irrelevant, bro. They could have been on one world, and it would have been the exact same movie. I promise you. It really would.
Agree. The planets could have been relevant if we stuck on the planets for more than 7 or 8 minutes. I think they
I,
visited 6 locations in this movie, and the first planet was the only one we stayed on for more than maybe 10 minutes. The
but
rest of the
we
planets,
and we didn't even care about it because we only stayed on a little farm of that planet at that.
exactly. And I'm a little confused because I think the first 2 places they went were on the same planet, and then they got in that ship and actually flew off planet. So there's a little confusion too. And we discussed this about how they fast forwarded through so many scenes. It seemed like they skipped a lot of stuff that they would have been able to cover.
I don't know. I don't know how they even got to the horses, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to figure out. They're like, oh, we haven't had meat in so long, but they get horses to ride back to the like them. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, y'all could have gone ahead and. It is again. I'm not trying to like get real picky with it. It's just some of it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I don't like it. That it doesn't make a lot of sense. So
Agree.
we'll definitely figure that out. What we got next? Does it deserve the hate?
See, this is tough. Before I watched this, somebody told me this movie was terrible, and I watched it and I thought, this movie's not terrible. It's just not great. And so if I say that, I say that it doesn't deserve the hate. I think you cannot like this movie. I think somebody can say, I don't really like it. Because people are going to compare it to Star Wars. They're going to compare it to Dune. By the way, I don't think Dune is that good either. And I know a lot of people are going to come at me for that. I think this movie was slightly worse than Dune, only because the cast in Dune was kind of more famous and more. But to be honest with you, I think it's the same low points. I don't think this is a terrible movie. I'm never gonna watch it again, but it was good enough to make me want to watch the second one, and so I'd say it's not that bad.
Nah, it was. I'm so conflicted. I'm gonna be honest. I think it does deserve the hate. I really do. I think that they like not as much as the movie deserves the hate, as much as I think the director, producers, writers, they deserve a lot of hate for this, because this was absolutely a miss. Like, they had the recipe to make it a hit, bro. Like, Zack Snyder, he literally didn't put out the 3-hour rated R movie. This movie, they put this movie out as a 2-hour PG-13 movie. And with it being 2 hours and PG-13, I truly do believe that it was too deep for a PG-13 movie. It was stuff that they could have really got, like, you know what I'm saying? The child loss, revenge, her family getting slaughtered, and pretty much she kidnapped.
The scene in the barn with the water
barn, the girl was almost getting assaulted. Like these things were too deep to fully understand for a PG-13 movie, but it just didn't have the raw and gore and uncensorship as a rated R movie could have been. So it's kind of like they got stuck in the middle. It's like TV 14 or something. I don't know, but it just, I understand the hate, because it made me want more, and I know they're never going to give it to me.
One thing we discussed before this, and I looked it up right before we hit play, this movie doesn't have a book. Which means that this was completely created by Zack Snyder. I mean, he had a writer write it. The writer who wrote Atomic Blonde. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, I did.
But it kind of has that Atomic Blonde feel too. But like, because it has no source material, it's just written for a movie, and I think it came off not that great because we don't have anything to bounce it off of, and because it's a rehash of a lot of other sci-fi movies, it's just kind of like doesn't have that juice to it, because it's not a source material to it. And it's just, I guess what I've learned is these sci-fi type of movies need source material to balance off of. Or it's just no way to really make a good movie without it, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely believe so. So I need to hear your rating. What you rating it?
I'm out of 10. I gotta go right in the middle between Rotten Tomatoes and fans, I'm gonna have to give it like a 4. Um, and I'm giving it a 4 because it's not good, but it's not the worst movie I ever saw. And again, I want to see the next one. Now, keep in mind that this one's a 4. I'm assuming the next one's going to be worse. It should be better. So this score might go down. Um, because the only way I'm going to enjoy the second one is if they fill in a lot of the backstory and they make me care about some of these people and they kind of explain some of the things we didn't bring up, like what's his name, Noble. What was he, a android? We found that out in the last 3 minutes of the movie. I need that backstory. I need more backstory about a lot of these characters, and I don't think we're gonna get that. And because I don't think we're gonna get that, I'm assuming the next movie is gonna be worse. So I'm giving this a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truly, when you just brought that up, I think it really upsets me though, right? Because finding out he's an android makes the whole fight scene irrelevant now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she only got the upper hand because she broke his arm. If you're a robot, that doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter. You're not about his stamina, you know what I'm saying? Like, he lost all his stamina, and it's like, you're a robot. You don't lose so it really upset me looking at it from that point of view of like, yo, this was really stupid in that sense, right?
Let me say one last thing before you give your rating, just so we can be. That scene kind of upset me too, and then it makes me really dawn on that. In the next movie, I need the general's backstory, the prince's backstory, the samurai ninja backstory. I need the rebel girl who got thrown on the team at the end backstory. I need more of core backstory. Like, they never explained why she left her adopted father. I also need to know the backstory of the main bad guy, how he became in power, why he's a android, where did he go when he went to go talk to the girl's father.
Went to the hard drive.
How did the king and queen and their daughter die? And all this needs to be covered in this movie, and I don't think it will.
And so where did the princess get her powers to heal stuff? I need to know that backstory. I get what you're saying, bro.
The funny thing is, there's some backstory that I should have named, and I don't even care. I don't even care how the princess got her power, because I probably don't. So, let me hear your rating.
I know I said at the beginning that it's not a flop, right? But I still have to. It's only not a flop because I am interested in seeing the second movie to a certain degree, but I'm still gonna have to rate this one below average. It's got to be a 3.
Okay.
It has to be a 3. It didn't. Again, like I said, I like to really feel the intro. The intro, I had a lot of questions. I'm all right with having a lot of questions, but it had nothing to do with all the stuff that's the totality of the movie. So the beginning questions, they're really just normal questions: who, what, when, where, why. But the whole story of the whole movie, the main part of the movie, had nothing to do with her just farming and that's it, so that introduction kind of was lackadaisical. The rising action, it was not really a rising action. It really wasn't. It really was no action like that. Like, it wasn't.
The fight scenes were good. They might have been pointless fight scenes,
bro. Let me tell you something. I hate the spider fight scene. I do, but understand, I hate the spider fight scene because everybody just stood around to watch this. First of all, how do you go? What is this, an audition? Was it an audition?
It was. And
but a child's at stake, about to die. It didn't make sense.
I just said the fight scenes were pointless, but now I would correct myself. All the fight scenes were auditions. If they beat this bad guy, they can join our team. That's what it was. Because everyone was introduced either through a fight scene or, except for the general, who was just drunk, which I think
he just got a bath.
They just did him wrong. They gave him a bath. But everybody was either a fight scene or prove to me you have some type of ability to be on this team. Except for the one guy who's supposed to lead the team. Never led anything in the whole movie.
Never. See, that's what I'm saying. It just I have to give it a 3. It wasn't good. I probably give it a 3.2. It really wasn't good as a good movie. Climax. I don't wait. When was the? I don't know if there was a climax, bro.
It's not, because the problem with this, and I should have covered this in the first topic. If you're gonna make a part one of a movie, or it's gonna be a cliffhanger, which, like we discussed earlier, wasn't really a cliffhanger. It still need to be a self-contained movie, which means if I just wanted to watch this movie, I should enjoy this movie, and then kind of like want to see the next one. But I feel like after I watch this movie, I'm just like, I don't really enjoy this. I want to see the next one only to hope that it's better.
Yeah.
But this movie itself was just filler, and I hate filler movies. You can have a filler episode on a TV show, but you can't have a filler
movie, a whole 2-hour filler.
And that's my problem with somewhat of my problem with Dune is that even though Dune has storytelling and character development, you can tell it's really just an introduction to what is going to happen for the rest of the series. And
no, that's true.
Boring.
Yeah, I'm not really with it. I'm gonna be honest. I just 3.2. The movie was very boring. A lot of dialogue that didn't mean stuff. A lot of characters that didn't mean stuff. Couple deaths that we didn't care about. And then no conclusion. Nobody died at the end. Like, low key, it's like the bad guy still lived, and then our good guy who sacrificed himself to die. We don't even care. So it was bad. It felt like a video game cutscene. That's what the whole movie felt like, a video game cutscene, because there was just no finish, beginning, nothing. So yeah, 3.2. I will say though, for the people who have not seen this movie yet, I will not go watch it. Wait till part 2 comes out and then watch both of them. That might be a way better experience, because you're not going to be stuck here like us for 4 months trying to figure out what's going on.
I agree. And also for the people, don't forget to like, subscribe, check out our next episode.
Make sure y'all share the video too. Hold it down.
All right.
We out.